Diego acquired all-star second baseman Adam Frazier from the Pirates last night, 3 minor leaguers. He leads the major debate hits this season from out of the trade deadline on Friday. Giants avoid the sweep-up out in the Pirates 6-1. Touchdown to Diamondbacks. Cardinals scored 7 in the fourth to rip the Reds. Conquer the World Cup quarterfinals. The U.S. shut out Jamaica 1-0 last night on Matthew Humphrey's goal in the 83rd minute. The semifinals come up on Thursday. The U.S. will play Qatar in Austin, while Mexico and Canada meet in Houston. That's wonderful.
Robert Workman, Monday Sports at 7 2. Living longer. New research shows the answer may be in our blood. Thank you for joining When America in the Morning returns after these messages. If you drive a car, truck, SUV, or vehicle of any kind, you need Get Outside, the free gas app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. That's right, with the free Get Outside gas app, you can get up to 25 cents a gallon cash back every time you buy gas. Nearly 3 million people earn cash back with Get Outside just for buying gas.
I always use Get Outside. Sometimes I make $200 to $300.
I love getting money back for things I use every day. They just free money for buying gas.
There's no tax. It's simple, and you get your cash back right away.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to save up to 25 cents per gallon when you buy gas. Use promo code C for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first day. That's up to 50 cents a gallon on your next fill-up. You can cash out anytime to PayPal or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Earn cash back on gas on every fill-up. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code SEA for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first day. That's code C. If you're not having regular healthy bowel movements, you feel dismayed just mentally, emotionally, physically, you know that things aren't right. Proper effective healthy elimination is easy to attain with Poop Day.
I'm Dr. Rick. Poop Day works because it's revolutionary ingredient. It's the way your oral form should work. It needs a gentle, clean, and easy poop first thing in the morning, and it's the easiest way to trim your waist out by reducing bloating.
With Poop Day, you'll see the results within 7 days. Go to poopfix.com and take the 7-day poop challenge. That's poopfix.com.
Hi, this is Andrea from Best Buy Flooring. Are you fed up with those old, worn-out, ugly floors? Let us show you our huge selection of carpet, vinyl, tile, laminate, and hardwood, all in stock. Can't find it here? We can special order your dream floor. Install, let our professional installers do it for you. We have the lowest prices in town. Open daily in 2 locations, Maple, Missouri, and O'Fallon, Illinois. Online at Best Buy Flooring, STL.com. Best flooring, best selection, Best Buy Flooring.
970. It's 5 till. This is America in the Morning. There's a new leader at the box office and a new second-place finisher, too. Entertainment correspondent Oscar Will Gabriel has checked out the movie's winners and losers.
There's something wrong with this.
M. Night Shyamalan's horror movie Old took in $16.5 million to capture the box office race over the weekend, finishing second. The G.I. Joe movie Snake Eyes, which took in $13.4 million, so to a post in revenue. It's going to take a lot more for Snake Eyes to break even for Paramount. It reportedly cost $88 million to make. The studio will push last week's top film, F9 and Space Jam: New Legacy, down to 3 and 4 on the current list. Attendance overall at the multiplexes down with the start of the Olympics and rising concerns about the Delta variant of the coronavirus. I'm Oscar Gabriel.
Jackie Mesa, a rabbi-turned-comedian whose feisty brand of stand-up comedy led him to Catskills nightclubs, West Coast talk shows, and Broadway stages has died. He was 93. Correspondent Julie Walker looks back at his career.
Mason died Saturday at Mount Sinai Hospital in Manhattan, according to longtime friend, attorney Raoul Felder. He was known for his sharp wit and piercing social commentary, often about being Jewish. Mason was the son of a rabbi and became one before starting his career as a court-spelled comedian. He shot to fame on the Ed Sullivan Show. Later in life, Mason won the second of his 2 Emmys for playing Tufty the Clown's father on The Simpsons. Over the years, some of these Mason has taken his humor too far, but he always did that. and it is self-saying with the comedian, Stuart Walker, New York.
Researchers say having higher levels of a specific kind of acid in your blood could help you live longer, correspondent Christopher Cruz has to say. The study used data from a group of people in Framingham, Massachusetts, who've been providing information to researchers about their health since 1971. It found that levels of omega-3 fatty acids in the blood are a good predictor of mortality from any cause as diabetes. A higher level of these acids in red blood cells is a result of regularly including oily fish in the diet. It increases life expectancy by almost 5 years. In contrast, being a regular smoker takes 4.7 years off your life expectancy, the same as you gain from having those high levels of omega-3 acids in your blood. Christopher Cruz, Washington. The study was conducted by the Hospital Del Mar Medical Research Institute in collaboration with the Fatty Acid Research Institute in the United States and several universities in the U.S. and Canada. It was published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. America in the Morning for Monday, July 26, 2021, is produced by Jeff McKay. Your producer, Kevin Delaney. I'm John Tremont. This is Westwood One. You know the slogan. Isn't cash in the bank better than scrap in the drawer? Midwest Money, the oldest coin shop in St. Louis, is celebrating its 50th year. Buying, selling, and trading since 1971. Silver and gold coins and currency. Service, antique firearms, military relics, uniforms, flags, metal daggers, and samurai swords, banners, helmets, and hats. Not sure what you have? Bring it to Midwest Money at 5900 Hampton Avenue in South St. Louis to find out. Midwest Money is the home of the largest model train set in St. Louis. The first Sunday of every month, bring the family to see the model railroad exhibit, free admission, and free refreshments. Midwest Money since 1971. Listen for information about the 50th year celebration. Located in beautiful South St. Louis at the corner of Hampton and Holly Hill. Call 314-481-0770 or find Midwest Money online at MidwestMoneyCo.com. Remember the slogan, isn't cash in the bank better than scrap in the drawer? We'd love to meet you at Midwest Money. Nikolai KCKHD to St. Louis. The legendary voice of St. Louis. This is KMLX. An honesty station. This is CBS News on the Hour. Your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. COVID cases fueled by the Delta variant are still climbing in every state. Hospitalizations are up too. Nearly all are among the unvaccinated. Dr. Sunil Kumar at Broward Health Medical Center in Florida.
Patients here in this unit already asking, can you give me the vaccine now? Instead of too late.
CBS News medical contributor Dr. David Agus on the trajectory. More and more places are going back toward masks and changing behavior. And I do think that we will see the peak toward the end of August. And at that point, with 50% of the country being vaccinated and many more have been exposed to the virus, we'll hopefully have decreasing numbers through September until we're in less resistant variants. California's largest wildfire merged with another smaller fire overnight. The Dixie Fire in northern Butte County has grown to more than 192,000 acres. KTVN TV's Victor Park.
Smoke fills the sky for miles. Crews say these kinds of conditions prevent them from conducting airdrops of water. And since most of the fire is burning along steep, rugged terrain, it is difficult for their ground crew to access it.
The country's largest wildfire, the Bootleg Fire in southern Oregon, is now 46% contained. Police in Utah say 7 people were killed in a 20-car pileup when a dust storm blinded drivers on Interstate 15 in Salt Lake City and St. George. Highway Patrol Sergeant Cameron Roden.
Vehicles all over, flipped up on the side. One of the vehicles that was on the trailer has pretty much completely been destroyed. I can't remember one being this large with this many vehicles and this many fatalities.
American athletes are making a big splash at the Olympics.
U.S. swimmers get another gold and silver. Gold counts in the men's 4x100 meter freestyle relay, but in the women's 400 meter freestyle, defending Olympic champion American Katie Ledecky finishes second.
I mean, I've experienced this before. And of course, you always want to hear your national anthem.
Gymnastics now takes over the spotlight as the men's team competition takes place. Steve Butterman, CBS News at the Summer Olympics in Tokyo.
Women are covering up at the Summer Games. CBS's Monica Rick.
Germany's gymnastics team is sporting a new look
in Tokyo, red, white, and black unitards that stretch to their ankles. The German ladies are pushing back against sexualization of women in gymnastics. For decades, female gymnasts have worn the clean-cut leotard. Norway's women's handball team's been fined $1,700 for wearing shorts instead of mandated bikini bottoms at the European Championships. The singer offering to pay, she accuses Federation officials of sexism. This is CBS.
Get CBS News Radio on the Odyssey app. All the audio that matters to you is on Odyssey. News, music, sports, and podcasts. Download the Odyssey app today.
It's time to get back together. Back to group hugs and group hangs. Dining in with family and going out with friends. But to get back to the things we love safely, we need to get vaccinated. COVID-19 vaccines are free and proven effective. COVID.com. Or call 877-435-8411 to get answers and find a vaccine near you. Because we're stronger together. Hi, I'm Megan with SSM Health Physical Therapy. We know injuries happen on the field, but if they happen off the field, we also do that. Our specialized sports training therapists use the latest wearable technology for activities such as golf, baseball, and running to create a personalized program to get you back in the game. With over 80 area locations, chances are you've driven past one today. Visit us online at ssmphysicaltherapy.com. Pursue our passion.
The SNL one is back to getting their own take of the Olympics on NBC. Watching the games, because my wallet is now in my neck. All while tweeting her live reaction. And then do 17 flips. So we're coming in to also on Biles with a cool exercise for Team USA. Jones, along with the video, tweeting, "Lord, the amount of Epsom salt I would need after this.
My back and my toes.
That's Piper, CBS News.
Ultra marathon runner Reza Belushi is back on dry land after attempting to walk on water from Bermuda. He was making his trek in an inflatable hydro rod, looked like a bubble, but he was rescued by the Coast Guard when it drifted ashore in Flatwood County. Belushi said he won't give up. He's raising money, he says, for homeless people. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
America's most trusted for food. AMOS.
It's 5:05 on Total Information AM. We have a clear sky, 73 degrees in downtown St. Louis. Today is Monday, 26th. I'm Todd Ackerman.
And I'm Debbie Monterey, and our top local story of mask mandates going back into effect today for St. Louis City and County. Maria Kina talked with the county executive before that order was issued. While Dr. Champagne told Camelot he was waiting for county health ruling on the issue, he was very concerned with the increasing COVID cases.
The cases in our community are doubling very quickly. As much as every 10 days or maybe even less than that. We're watching these numbers very closely.
Severe. Hayes says the Delta variant has been spreading these cases for some time, and they were at the cusp of an explosive growth in cases. Maria Kina, Camelot News.
I'm Michael Calhoun. There's likely to be some pushback on the mask mandate from some members of the St. Louis County Council. KNOX News asked Chairwoman Britta Daves her position on a mandate.
I'm not really sure how that will play out these days. Now that we have relaxed those, it's going to be very, very difficult, I feel, to go back to that.
Cities encouraging the non-vaccinated to study information provided and most importantly, talk to your primary care physician. The county council does meet Tuesday night. Michael Calhoun, KNOX News. As COVID cases spread across the country again, cities are preparing for a fourth wave in hospitals. Will they return to a mask mandate in Kansas City? Here's Mayor Quentin Lucas.
Every mayor of a major city in America right now is wondering if it's a time to return to mandates. We have thought at this point thus far that it is not necessary for Kansas City.
Lucas tells Face the Nation young of color is an area where the vaccination rates are extremely low.
It's 5:07. This Saturday morning, 6 people, including a 12-year-old boy, have been shot in St. Louis. The child was shot in his back and knee. The shooter was inside a car. Another shooting at the Schnooks at Gravelly and Grand. That happened about 1 Sunday afternoon. One person injured. Police did not release the circumstances.
The other shootings happened in the 4,000 block of South Broadway, 3,100 block of Chippewa, and 2 people were shot at 10th and Washington in the loss at 1,000.
A police officer heard gunshots and saw a potential suspect leave the scene in a Chevy Cruze.
Well, he says he doesn't want to move his company, since CEO Michael Neidorff is still pointing to crime in St. Louis as one of the reasons he may move the region's largest public company from Clayton to Charlotte, North Carolina.
But a top criminologist says using crime to justify such a move is nonsensical. Also, Rick Rosenfeld's health chain will let the city of St. Louis have a higher crime rate than Charlotte, but it's not a fair comparison. The team facility is not located in the city of St. Louis, it's located in Clayton. If we compare Clayton with Charlotte, then Charlotte has the higher crime rate, violent crime rate. Plus, Charlotte's rate includes all of Mecklenburg County, which in 2019 saw its murder rate increase 88%. So far this year, violent crime there is up 5% over the first half of last year. The murder rate is 2%. In addition, Mecklenburg County District Attorney's Office is considered one of the 45th in the country. The new sponsored by Sweet, they saw sticky odors from your fireplace at 5:20. This is Sam White Editor from Alamo. The return of the mandated mask. That story is coming out. But first, a look at traffic and our weather forecast. That's at 5:10. It's 5:09. Download the Odyssey app to discover hundreds of new exclusive music stations like the ACDC channel or Root 13 Radio. Maybe you're a country listener. If so, try Eric Church's channel or one of the classic country channels. Rock, alternative, country, pop, whatever you want. And they have it. Odyssey. For music fans, by music fans. Hey guys, Laura here for the Gelman team. So this misconception actually is a fraud, because it's being promulgated by lesser real estate agents who you hear advertising all the time. And the logic goes something like this. Hey, it's a seller's market, it's white hot. You don't need to use a good real estate agent like the Gelman team. You use me. Even I could sell your home. Well, that's pretty sad, but it's also not true, because given this seller's market, people are receiving multiple offers. That's complicated. Because it's not just, I'll give you 500, I'll give you 600, we're going to take this out of the inspection, we're going to have a warranty for the air conditioning. It's very, very complicated. You need someone you can trust, and that's the Gelman team. Don't leave any money on the table. 314-336-1991, or visit thegelmanteam.com, or just Google the Gelman team. That's 314-336-1991 for the Gelman team. Certain restrictions apply.
It is 5:10. Oh, welcome to Monday, July the 26th. We have some good news. The humidity will be down a little bit today. Good morning, Tom Ackerman.
Good morning.
How you doing? We'll be back together with Debbie on Total Information Age.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It has been a while.
We've had a lot of people out on vacation, which is a good thing. Everybody needs to have some time away.
We call that the vacation shuffle. And the King White Sports Department, which we're actually at the full throttle starting today. Everyone's back. Kevin Wheeler, Joe Potts, yours truly. So we get through that good, that boy. We have a Cardinals team that actually put together a nice win yesterday. The Marathon team, a crazy game, so we'll get into all that at 5:15. How about our weather, though? It doesn't look too crazy. It's pretty clear. It's going to be hot.
Yeah, and mostly sunny today, but lower humidity, so 92 with a high won't feel quite as insufferable. It was pretty humid yesterday. At times, it was like, I thought, you know what, the week in my yard can just take over. I'm not going out there.
My little laundry came outside and she goes, it's humid. Because look at my glasses.
I think that 72 overnight, and then sunny, hot, and they humidity back tomorrow, 94. Then Wednesday, high of 97, and feel more like 105 or so. And then Thursday, high of 98. Friday, we could see a thunderstorm in the morning, and that would hopefully cool things down. 86 degrees on Friday. That sounds good. But
I'm curious what Saturday looks like beyond that.
well, I can tell you that we have clear skies in 72 in St. Peter, the few clouds 73 in Florida, and clear in 73 in downtown St. Louis.
The weather is sponsored by Lowe's. Great values are happening now during Lowe's Pro Summer Savings. Stop by the Pro Desk and see how to save extra on volume savings orders over $1,500. Plus, find more Pro values across the store now through July 30th. Lowe's, the new home for Pro. Looks like Saturday is going to be a lot like Friday. We're not as hot as much, and That's good because I'm from
All right.
and Cardinals on Friday, and a lot of stuff going on. And that's kind of fun. I'm not going to get all the things that I like that we have events going on, and I kind of want it to stay that way. So let's get along.
Our rules, they are going to get their vaccines, and we can do that.
We have sports next at 5:15. It's 5:13. Summer. The time to make upgrades and improvements to your home. If you start from the bottom, like with your flooring, then you'll need to go to the top. Reinhold Flooring. They've been improving homes since 1988. Need ideas? Reinhold can offer you personalized service to match any budget. Just go online at reinholdflooring.com and check out their selection of industry leaders. And decide to replace that hardwood or cover it with carpet, Reinhold's knowledgeable staff can help you with all the best options. You'll find the top brands from carpet, hardwood, laminate, vinyl, tile, and stone in their huge warehouse. With Reinhold, you'll get great savings and great installation every time. The online reviews are glowing about how professional they are, striving to be the best in St. Louis and the surrounding area. Let Reinhold give you a free in-home estimate for your next project, renovation, or construction. Learn more and set up your free consultation and measure online at reinholdflooring.com or stop by their location at 5429 Telegraph Road.
Right now, if you're hiring, 82% of you will call recruiters hiring faster and 82% of females you can start the recruiter for free today. But go to recruiter.com/free. Yes, free.
People are feeling this or there's something about these times when it comes to public health, so making sure the young people understand. So why don't we try those mandates? Yeah, I mean, the truth is, there was never anything anti-vaccine or anti-science about the Republican Party. As I often say, the National Academy of Sciences was launched by Lincoln, Eisenhower, launched NASA, and George W. Bush launched part of the president's emergency plan for AIDS. This is relatively new. It began, or I don't know where it began, because it began where I am here in Texas in around 2015. There was this new health freedom, medical freedom movement. Somehow the anti-vaccine movement were re-energized because a lot of us had defeated the clinics between vaccines and autism in a new angle, and they got themselves adopted by the Republican Tea Party. Particularly down here in Texas under the banner of health freedom, medical freedom, and it just really accelerated after COVID. They started becoming defined of masks and social distancing, and now it's extended to vaccines. And you know, when I say, look, I'm not politicizing this, or that guy's politicizing it. My job as a scientist is to call it out and say, look, this anti-science aggression against nobody is completely self-defeating for the country and for all the deep red states now where COVID is accelerating, and trying to understand how we do it has to be a top priority. And I'm really worried because as bad as things are right now, it's about to get worse. It's going to get worse because schools are starting down here in the South in a few weeks. We started early here in August, and now we've got 17, 16, 15% of the adolescents vaccinated in the southern states, 30% of the young adults. We've got the Delta variant and South variant. We have the state governor saying no mask mandates. What makes you think any of this is going to go well? We are going to see now lots of young people get hospitalized now in the coming weeks. All right. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. I just wondered how it's all questions. Here we are, we're going to be moving into the school year. Already hearing rumbling from some teachers unions, well, we're not sure it's got to be safe. The rumblings about school. We all know our children have to be in school. They have to be in school. So let me ask you this. Why can't Joe Biden have a rated month? Why can't you have a month like Reagan did with their traffic controllers and tell public school teachers, public university professors, tell healthcare workers that are working with senior citizens, tell all these people, get vaccinated. Are you guys lying? We open this country, but we are on the verge of having to shut down again because the righteous 30% who will not get their vaccines.
Up until this point, President Biden has taken the perfectly reasonable approach that you catch more flies with honey than vinegar. And so recently that worked. You look at the curve of vaccinations, it was pretty steep until 5-6 weeks ago, but it's flattened off since then. And all the numbers you've been showing demonstrate very well, and it's all of us in our daily lives, those remaining vaccine hesitant anti-vaxxers are for the most part pretty strongly decided against getting a vaccine, and the honey is not going to catch them. So I think at this point, leadership, political risk-taking is going to be required by Biden and by others. Whether that means sort of starting with, imposing a ban on unvaccinated people entering federal property, including interstate travel, including flying, including medical workers, people in residential homes, and teachers to that. I don't know. It will produce an enormous backlash, but it would also get the job done. You've seen how like France, when they've done that, they would impose essentially an authority on the unvaccinated or maps they go to. Going into restaurants or public transport, you see a massive uptake in vaccination since President Macron made that announcement. Singapore is doing something similar. It would undoubtedly escalate the culture wars, but it would improve the scientific situation. It requires risk-taking and leadership, right? It's beginning to confront that possibility.
It's eliminating the culture wars exponentially from the vaccination second. I expect American political culture but you can say why?
The rapidly spreading Delta variant has caused an increase of concern to the Biden administration. The Washington Post reports that inside the White House, top officials are growing increasingly anxious about the state of the pandemic. They are gravely concerned about the situation spiraling out of control in some areas of the country with low vaccination rates. That's according to two people who work in the administration and two others in close touch with the White House. Officials are now looking at models that predict anywhere from a few thousand new COVID cases to more than 200,000 every day in the fall. One new forecast also estimates the U.S. could see 3 times the number of daily deaths from the coronavirus virus compared to now.
And South side, the current 7-day average, by the way, is about 250,000 deaths per day. So Sam, yes, I know. It seems to me that there are a lot of serious nations that will allow Facebook and allow these political extremists to get in the way from getting every public school teacher vaccinated, from getting
every healthcare worker works with senior citizens, is nursing homes vaccinated, or getting every public safety officer in America vaccinated, making that a requirement of the job, just like again, let me say it again, for idiots that suggest as well. This is what we've been doing with kids going into kindergarten. They all had to get 5 or 6 vaccination shots in the state of Florida before they could get into school. And every state has about the same vaccination requirements that your vaccine coaching has for it. That represents an ominous amount of Florida idiots that are pushing back on this. But how are we as a serious nation not requiring of our school teachers, of our cops, of our transportation officials, of our health care workers? We're just not a serious nation if we don't demand that of them. If they want to have a job in the middle of the pandemic.
I just want to give her a guide.
Yeah, I mean, that's hit the nail on the head there, which was this when we saw, for instance, a rapid spike in vaccinations. That's what I'm saying. You had this chose not to do the vaccine. And from anecdotal,
She might wear
Missouri, for instance, we absolutely take you to get
I don't want to wear
vaccinated. Your mom saying,
I really
the thing that was a requirement. Versus that, they thought it would be ludicrous. The government pushable to be excited to have doing this. So there is some anecdotal data that friends of mine suggest that, a more sticks approach rather than carrots would work here. Of course, the problem is that it's sort of political backlash and the cultural backlash that we're having here. Which is not just anti-vaccination become a cultural element, essentially. There's all tendency companies that was not only they were pushing back against COVID vaccinations, they were pushing back against vaccination of all vaccines. And so it's going to this monster of sorts, which you're not just fighting people who are resistant to getting 500 hours, you're trying to provide vaccination with larger. That's one last thing. It was Biden put into work on the COVID task force. They tell you that, more often than not, people are not going to take enough that they will be, they're not going to be pushed, but they will be prompted into getting vaccinated. People and pastors or family members or so on. This is important. And this is where things are on. Folks on there, my folks on Facebook. But if you are following a certain universe of people who are anti-vaccine, what is the information that you get repeatedly? You're not getting outside sources. And you're going to encourage you to not get the vaccine. It's very hard for a pastor or a medical professional or someone else to infiltrate the ecosystem. And that's what essentially the problem is that we have these closed off information circuits that don't let us get outside of that information that would encourage us to get the jab. That's large swaths of the population, and that's why I have people with advanced degrees, people with law degrees, members of their asking the most ridiculous questions. You get that from Facebook, when the peers send that to, and yeah, it comes from Facebook, it comes from social media. This information is killing people, and they're killing people right now. And I understand that this is tough for Joe Biden. I understand that you can create an explosion in the culture wars, but it seems to me there are these old Midas hats. You can pay me now or you can pay me later. Joe Biden's worried about crazy people on Facebook. Spreading lies and spreading conspiracy theories and anti-vaxxers coming out. Can we break out that now? or even a word or 2 or 3 months ago about small businesses being shut down again, about restaurants being shut down again, about the closures of downtown areas, about this economy grinding to a halt again. He's got to have to make a very popular, a very difficult choice. It's what serious leaders do. And he's going to have to prove that on this front, he's a serious leader. No, I'm not saying the Delta variant actually goes very well, but as people across the globe know very well, the Delta variant is changing the rules of the game. I'm going around and I haven't started wearing a mask again, but I don't go inside tight areas. But I'm starting to see people mask up voluntarily again, especially older Americans. Everybody, I know it's anecdotal, but that's how I got elected. I like that. It's anecdotal, but I didn't pay multi. But everybody I know knows somebody that has gotten really sick with the Delta variant, and even those vaccinated are getting asymptomatic. Basically, you're asymptomatic or kind of sick, but there's no doubt. They're on the vaccine, they're most likely in the hospital, and possibly dead. So we've got to get serious about this.
I think it's a very good point that the culture wars are going to happen either way. If Biden does nothing drastic now, then the likelihood that we're going to go back into lockdown, some form of lockdown in the fall or the early winter, restaurants are going to be closed again, schools are going to start to close. It's going to rise very, very sharply. Allow this Delta variant to get out of control, in which case it's going to be a much more serious cultural backlash about people's freedom being inhibited versus short it down when they get penalized for not taking the vaccine and protesting and complaining about those restrictions, which is what, by the way, we're going to get a cultural and to take the hit now for public health. I think we're in a race between the vaccine and variants here. Time is of the essence. If we allow another winter where mutations are sort of running rampant, the sense of frustration from Americans vaccinated and unvaccinated through the restrictions that we're going to be feeling. We don't need to be feeling. But it's preordained. This is not something that has to happen. That sense of frustration is going to be enormous, and of course it will endanger the economic recovery, which is the absolute basis of the Biden administration's success for re-election and for continuing to govern this country. So I would strongly align with the direction of your questions, Joe. The political hit has got to be taken now. Biden needs to step up.
All right, thank you so much. That was just being here this morning. He does need to make a tough choice right now. Joe Biden needs to make a tough choice right now. He needs to start in his own political backyard. And he needs to tell the teachers union that he's going to require every public health care, health care person getting it also starting. Every public school teacher needs to be vaccinated. If you remember last year, they kept saying, we can't go back to school. Earlier this year, we can't go back to school until we're all vaccinated. That's all we heard, right? Okay, but we have vaccinations. We're starting to hear some rumblings that maybe we can't go back to school this fall. That's not that's not an option. That's not an option. Our kids stayed home last year from school, and the results were absolutely devastating, even more devastating for the truly disadvantaged. So we have the vaccines. And the President of the United States needs to say, if you are a public school teacher, or you teach at a public university, As a condition of your job, you have to get vaccinated. We're not closing schools this fall. Children will not be staying at home this fall looking at Zoom classes. They're going to be in because their teachers are going to be vaccinated. That's what Joe Biden needs to start. He needs to start here today. And then he needs to talk about healthcare officials who are taking care of senior citizens. You know, I'm talking a lot, I've been hearing a lot in the media. Tennessee, Fox News has been talking about it a good bit because it's very personal for her. What happened when Governor Cuomo, when he sent people back into nursing homes that were infected with COVID, and how devastating that was for so many American families and families across the country. Well, here we are, 6, 8 months later. I'm seeing statistics that led 45% of healthcare workers in nursing homes are not vaccinated. Are you kidding me? You're putting the lives of senior citizens at risk. I mean, everybody has a thing to do. They want to do. But the government has a responsibility to step in and say those other 40% of staff that we're focusing on, you get vaccinated or you find another job. You know, Mark Blakey did this with the air traffic controllers. People thought it was going to be controversial. Actually, a funny thing happened. Americans actually respected the fact that overwhelmingly that a politician made a strong decision that a lot of people thought was going to be unpopular. Well, we have something much greater at stake now, and that is keeping America open in the fall, keeping our schools open in the fall. It's time for Joe Biden. It's time for Democrats. It's time for serious Republicans to start ignoring the ground noise and start focusing on the signal. And the signal is this: you're a school teacher, you're a nurse, you're a cop, you need to get vaccinated. And if you don't, you need to look for another job.
Right, still ahead on Morning Joe. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi taps a second Republican for the Select Committee tasked with investigating the January 6th Capitol riot. Plus, will we see a bipartisan infrastructure bill finalized today? That's what senators on Capitol Hill are hoping for. And with violent crime surging across the country, polling shows residents in one major U.S. city are more concerned with public safety than police.
By the way, it's not even close. 9-to-1 ratio. Keep our damn streets safe.
We'll dig into those new numbers. You're watching Morning Joe. We'll be right back.
You're strong. You power through chronic migraine. 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours or more. Botox prevents headaches in adults with chronic migraine. So if you haven't tried Botox for your chronic migraine, check with your doctor if Botox is right for you, and if samples are available.
Effects of Botox may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Side effects may include allergic reactions, nagging injection site pain, fatigue, and headache. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history. Muscle or nerve conditions and medications include botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects.
Most patients can pay as little as $0 for Botox. So text to see how you can save. Botox has been preventing headaches and migraines from the start for 10 years. So ask your doctor about Botox today.
Simply 6 Video Doorbell Pro. You'll know if the first year door spread or remote. We're still late at cheese pizza with extra meatballs. With my smart alarm, I can let it in. I'll train you now. And I can lock it up right here. Can't have tomorrow. Speak from an expert. Get simply safe and protect it like a pro.
Visit simplysafe.com for a limited time offer.
Ever wanted the sensation like you're floating on air? You can with Skechers new Glide Step footwear. Feels like you're floating as our Aero Comfort consoles give you a firm, soft landing that propels you forward. Plus, they have Skechers exclusive air-cooled memory foam. Try Skechers new Glide Step. How fast does Dove Dry Spray actually dry? Let's see. It's dry. Let's go more time. Makes us wonder why we booked 15-second nap slots. Dries instantly and keeps you protected for 48 hours.
Not everybody wants the same thing. That's why I go with Liberty Mutual. They customize my car insurance so I only pay for what I need. Because I do things a bit different. What can you get? What can you get? Only pay for what you need. Everyone's discovering the power of 5G, but you've been helping millions of renters get 5G for years. And also 6G. And 4C and 2R and 7 now. Apartments.com. Put a bunch of places to find a place.
Got tired of airports, the best thing we ever did was buy an RV from Midwest RV Center. It's our home RV. Our time is flexible, we have the freedom to stop wherever we want, and whenever we want. We really spend time with your family. You can explore the outdoors, unplugged from the internet, and have a real conversation around the campfire. Midwest RV Center in South Carolina. Your adventure books.
Browse, view, and buy 100% online with Mulberry Post Farm. Get more for your trade and are made to buy.
With how you control your energy, it's as easy as a flip of a switch. The touch screen, the turn of the dial. And now, there's another power at your fingertips. Empowered as me, you in Missouri. Get a discounted LED light on this online and those stores. $50 cash back on the smart thermostat. And up to $100 back on an HVAC system. Visit DealerMissouriSavings.com for details. Offer applies to all your qualifying purchases.
How many awards do you think you put together before all of you? We've been making trophies and plants since 1975. It was well enough to raise $5 million. So I guess Mark Ruth, we had a lot of awards.
Let's get you updated on the Tokyo Games, where Olympic competition is underway this morning. The U.S. softball team has another walk-off win under its belt. Kelsey Stewart's game-ending leadoff homer in the 7th inning earns Team USA a 2-1 win over Japan, wrapping up the group stage and preview of the gold medal game. U.S. softball now boasts a 5-0 record at the
And what in the world is going on with the USA basketball team?
It's
Struggle
yeah.
for the men's basketball team continues in Tokyo. We see the USA come to France 83-76. USA lost to France in basketball. And yesterday, so what's going on? The loss is a 25-game Olympic winning streak for the U.S. And I don't know what's wrong with this team. We have the best players in the world. It's just not a close second to us. And yet we keep losing. This is embarrassing. Coach, get your team together.
All right, let's jump into the pool.
France is in basketball.
Okay, let's jump into the pool. Jumping into the pool. Caleb Dressel led off, and Zach Apple closed the door as the anchor leg for the U.S. captured gold in the men's 4x100-meter freestyle relay. Meanwhile, American Katie Ledecky settled for silver in the 400-meter freestyle as 20-year-old Australian Ariarne Titmus dealt Ledecky a first loss in individual Olympic competition. Australia's swimming coach went viral for his emphatic celebration after Tippett secured the goal. Very excited. And some other notables for Team USA. 18-year-old Anastasia Zalotic won the United States' first ever gold medal in women's taekwondo after claiming the featherweight division title yesterday. And in another first for Team USA, Lee Kiefer defeated the reigning Olympic champion to be the first American to ever win an individual spoiled gold. 20-year-old
Charlie Pierce has to be so excited.
That's good. And 20-year-old Will Shaner, the youngest man to qualify for an Olympic rifle competition, set an Olympic record to earn gold in the 10-meter air rifle yesterday. And more shooting gold for the U.S. this morning as Vincent Hancock regains his throne as Olympic champion in men's skeet shooting, completing a U.S. double after Amber English won the women's event.
I see, look at that. Pretty good.
Yeah. And the current medal count has China on top with 15 total medals. The United States is in second with 14, but has the most gold with 7.
All right, we're going to catch up. We're going to catch up. Team USA. And Sam, I'm not going to blame Facebook. You can tell you what, I'm not going to blame Facebook for our loss to France in basketball yesterday, but if this continues, I most certainly will. I put the entire organization down the bottom. We need to win the basketball goal. There's no excuse for us not doing that. But that said, while the Olympics are a pretty big sport, of course, the biggest sport in the world, the Yankees, Red Sox baseball yesterday. Just incredible. This has been an incredible series, up and down series. The Yankees gave away a game on Thursday night. They should have never given away on a couple of 4 wild pitches in a row. And then yesterday, we came back, and the Red Sox fans had something to cheer about. Down 4-0 with a no-hitter through 7 innings. And the Red Sox fans just exploded. That was incredible. I'm trying to Alex actually allowed me to do this segment because it was the heartbreaking. But yeah, we were being okay through 7 innings and then just turned the tables completely. My guy would actually have the game yesterday, the day before, which was a heartbreak for the Red Sox because we were playing so well. This felt like sweet revenge. Let me say one other thing on that swimming coach, the viral video. That's what I do when I send a good tweet. You know, that's like when I celebrate. So it didn't seem that extraordinary to me. Yeah, no, not at all. And we've seen you do it. It's Red Sox, yeah. So, young Jack and I saw, we're fortunate enough this weekend to see the games. Yeah, I went to see the games. Actually, first time I think I've ever done this in my life. Got to Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And of course, Friday's game was great. Devers 2 home runs. Saturday, ugly. The Yankees got us, but we made them on Sunday. But yesterday, actually, was probably the loudest. It's been away. If the Marshals were early on, when they were being no hit, right? That was a little bit nerve-wracking at first. Of course, Weird and I always believe that we're just, like you, I'm sure, and all the Sox fans believe that we're always just like one pitch, one swing, one error away from everything collapsing. So yes, Weird and I halfway through the game, we're texting back and forth, going, well, it was a good year while it lasted, but they lost really bad yesterday after letting the Yankees come back when they were 3 down at like the 8th inning. So pretty fascinating stuff on everybody in America except the person I talk to right now.
Thank you. Okay, turning now to the new polling. We mentioned going to break after a year of national protests and calls for police reform. New numbers from one of America's largest cities shows residents overwhelmingly want more police officers on their streets, not fewer. In the new poll from USA Today, Suffolk University, and the Detroit Free Press, 73% of Detroit residents said said they will feel safer with more officers policing their neighborhoods. That's compared to just 8% who said they would feel less safe with more officers. Joining us now, Washington Bureau Chief for USA Today, Susan Page, also with us, host of MSNBC's Politics Nation and president of the National Action Network, Reverend Al Sharpton. Good to have you both with us.
Thanks for being with us. Susan, I think this is a fascinating poll because it really tells us a lot of what we already have noticed. The numbers are so dramatic that it really underlines a point as much as Eric Adams winning in New York does. But I guess I want to take you back to last fall, after the Black Lives Matter marches, and when the defund the police chants were at their loudest. The New York Times ran a series of articles where they interviewed city council people in some of the most disadvantaged parts of New York City. And they were saying, we don't need less cops. We need more cops on the street, and we need more public safety officers in our children's classrooms. We're the most dangerous parts of New York City. They can afford to think that way in Park Slope in Manhattan. We can't afford to think that way where we live. And it seems these numbers underline what we've been hearing from residents in truly disadvantaged neighborhoods now for the past year or so.
Yeah, but what we found in this survey of Detroit residents was, it's not that the residents of Detroit give their police such high marks. There are some concerns about response times, about racial profiling, but they are much more concerned about public safety, especially in the wake of this jump in violent crimes in the past year. Murders up about 20% in Detroit over the previous year. Non-fatal shootings up more than 50% in a year. And that has really, of course, captured the attention and the concern of Detroit residents. And what we found was Black residents of Detroit were much more concerned about public safety than they were about police reform, and much more concerned about public safety than white residents were.
Yeah, and for everybody watching right now, jumping up and down and screaming, Peter Susan, the USA Today, Morning Joe, I are suggesting that you have to make a false choice. Right, and have police reform as well as safe streets. And right now, my gosh, this is what you've been saying every day for the past year and a half, which is, yes, we need police reform, but you have to take care of the people in New York and in Chicago and across the nation who are on the front lines of public violence. You have to strengthen the police force while reforming the police force. And these numbers play out exactly what you've been telling us on the show for a year.
These numbers are not surprising to many of us that are on the ground that want to see policing reimagined, but at the same time, make sure we are policing in a way that keeps the community safe. We shouldn't have to choose between the two. I've shared with you many times. 3 weeks after I did the George Floyd funeral, celebrated the police. I did the funeral when you did a funeral of a 1-year-old kid killed by a stray bullet in a gang fight in Brooklyn, New York. Both of them need to be something we deal with. So I think this poll drives a lot home. And I'm not surprised, particularly in Detroit, John Williams, National Network, and those there talk to me every day about the problem of gun violence. The real thing that is not being talked about, Joe, is not only do we need the George Floyd bill passed in the Senate, we need gun laws passed. Why are we ignoring the fact that these guns are even in these communities? People should be reformed, people are dealt with, policing ought to be working on communities, but people can't shoot guns that they can't get. There needs to be something about the fact these communities are saturated with guns, and we're not even seeing widespread gun busts in terms of those that are trafficking these illegal weapons in these communities.
Right, and Rev, this is something I've never understood. And I think Eric Adams talks about military-style assault weapons He said, that's a suburban problem for the most part. He said, it gets all the news coverage, it gets all the play, and it's a tragedy, and it should get news coverage. But it's the illegal handguns, it's the illegal trafficking that's killing 10, 20, 30 people in Chicago on a weekend. That's causing gun crimes to skyrocket over the past year. We don't understand why. I know Republicans have cut funding for ATF in the past, but they don't understand why we aren't focusing more on illegal guns. I will tell you, we have to focus on illegal guns. That's not just true this year, that's been true the past 20 years. But also, this police pullback that we just saw in that newspaper article headline, the police pullback that I hear about whenever I talk to law enforcement officers, the police pullback that we've seen over the past year, it's causing real problems. And again, the media is focusing on that part of the story, but taking way too long to focus on the part of the story that people, again, in the most disadvantaged neighborhoods have been worried about now for a year, and that is that police pullback that's getting cops off the street, that's getting cops out of school, that's making life in those neighborhoods where you have to officiate the funerals of 4-year-old girls so much more dangerous.
And the problem is that we have too many people that are speaking for people that they don't speak to. They're not on the ground. They're locked in their rooms that sit on ivory towers, theorizing, but they're not on the streets killing everyone. That is saying, wait a minute, I don't want my kid carrying a 45 weapon in the drawer because he feels that's the only way he can go to school or go to the playground nearby. Any more than I want a policeman put their knee on his neck. And unless we understand that and talk to people that are really on the ground and have laws that deal not only with police reform, which I'm certainly in the forefront of, but also how we have these guns in our community that don't have gun manufacturing plants. Until we deal with both, we're going to see this escalating problem. And I think this whole may be another wake-up call, but people need to, if you're woke, you need to be woke about crime as well as you are about police reform. Be all the way woke, be cautious woke.
Thank you. That's my problem too. Susan, I have a question for you. You know, we talked about Democratic leadership being House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Jim Clyburn, Ted Gore, of course Joe Biden. They all were there during the 80s and 90s when Democratic politics was at a different place than it is now. I'm curious from your reporting, from your perceptions, how do you think that history, their learned history from those decades, is impacting their political approach today as you see uptick in crime in cities?
I think Democrats have often struggled with the whole issue of public safety. You remember there was a time in the 1990s when many Democrats, including people like Joe Biden, took a tough on crime approach because that seemed to fit the moment, and then came to rue the day mandatory minimum sentences and some of the war on drugs. The limit now for some Democrats is to both express concern, a legitimate concern about holding police accountable, but also keeping communities safe. And one thing we found in this series of surveys we're doing of big cities, first in Milwaukee and now in Detroit, is how complicated this issue is. Now, you cannot talk, as the reference said, about one side of it without also addressing the other side of the dam.
435.
All right, USA Today's Susan Page, thank you very much. Bob Moses, an early local leader of the civil rights movement who faced violence and intimidation to register black voters in Mississippi in the 1960s, died yesterday at his home in Florida. The New York Times reports in 1960 he left his job as a high school teacher in New York City for Mississippi, where he organized poor, illiterate, and rural black
black residents. At one point during a voter registration drive, a sheriff's cousin bashed Mr. Moses' head with a knife. Bleeding, he kept going, staggered up the steps of a courthouse to register a couple of black farmers. Moses, who was raised in public housing in Harlem, earned a master's in philosophy from Harvard in 1957. In the early 1980s, he started a national organization called the Algebra Project, dedicated to teaching math as a means to a more equal society. Bob Moses was 86 years old.
Hey, Rep, can you talk a little bit about what we all owe Bob Moses?
We owe Bob Moses a lot. Bob Moses was one of the activists that was in the trenches around voting rights. He never went for headlines. He was not a high profile figure. He did the work. But had he not done the work, we would have not gotten the Voting Rights Act of '65. And those of us that are fighting to keep voting rights today owe a lot to Bob Moses. He helped to make the trail that we're all walking down and are continuing to walk down. I'm so honored he did Politics Nation a few years ago. He is absolutely a historic figure, and he is one we ought to always admire and respect.
Reverend Al Sharpton, thank you very much. And coming up, the stock market posted record highs on Friday despite ongoing public health issues. Steve Raptor will explain why that happened. Plus, at the odds of potential Senate run in Georgia, could old allegations keep football legend Herschel Walker out of the race? Morning Joe is going to be right back. I booked our hotel in kayak. It's less than a week. So I haven't left the house in a year. And they don't stop me for vacation. No canceling. Flexible cancellation. Kayak. It's one and done. Your summer left in a hurry. That's everything to do. Follow me. Any question? We'll take it. Right? It will haunt your senses. The heart-pounding Audi XUV6. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer. Don't be afraid to come here. You know how it typically goes. First you have your next regulations, then you have these dishes. Stop going in circles. ASO joint protection by C-stroke and your rear track bacteria. On your ASO.
Welcome to the McLaren Formula One Q&A. Does anyone have any questions?
Yes, hi, is that during the end
Who can I know on stage? Hi, everyone, it's Simon.
One day, that's fine. England, Germany, or France.
I don't know, what do you guys think? Let's put up a poll. Probably generally. McLaren is Let's go racing. Introducing the Black Suite. Try it, clear your glass. It's time to run the North America. Start your day with all the support you need at Skechers Arch Fit Sandals. Skechers teamed up with podiatrists using over 20 years of data to create a sandal that provides splitting arch support for all day comfort. Podiatrist certified arch support for men and women. These people are here today have the same prescription. The most number one causes out to fail. One is getting back and our so while he's paying that much, she is paying this much. Stop paying so much for prescriptions. Download the free app today.
Brushing only reaches 25% of your mouth. This Listerine cleans virtually 100%, helping to prevent gum disease and bad breath. Never settle for 25%. Always go for 100. Bring out the bold. We've all seen the flashy advertisements from out-of-state law firms. So how can victims know who to turn to for help after an accident? Injured Missourians should choose a local personal injury lawyer, Holland Injury Law. tested, trusted, tenacious. We've all seen the flashy advertisements from out-of-state law firms. So how can victims know to turn to for help after an accident? Injured Missourians should choose a local personal injury lawyer. Holland Injury Law. Tested, trusted, tenacious.
The virus levels are much higher in those infected with the Delta variant, and that's why it's spreading more rapidly than earlier strains.
You never want leftover onion residue or any food residue on any of your surfaces. That's what you could be doing when you're cleaning with a used dishcloth, even after you've rinsed it. So switch to a fresh sheet of Bounty for a more hygienic clean. Unlike used dishcloths that can carry and redistribute residue, Bounty keeps your surfaces clean. Because better hygiene begins with Bounty. Bounty, the quicker fix.
Adjusting the work of experience to make it viable both in person and online. City Work Week brings
New Orleans, it's
It's like a fucked up
here, I'll do it.
massive Dixie fire is turning trees into torches. The fire threatens thousands of structures and is destroying anything in its path.
The Bushland fire in southern Oregon, now the third largest in the state's history, has destroyed almost 70 homes. Many people in and around Detroit and Flint, Michigan are still waiting for the electricity to come back. The pounding rain and local Saturday.
Since we have 50% of the country is not fully vaccinated, that's a problem. If we don't vaccinate people, the model is going to predict that we're going to be in trouble as we continue to get more and more cases.
And almost entirely the victims will be unvaccinated Americans?
Well, yes, okay, that's the issue. It's kind of like we have two kinds of America. We have the very vulnerable unvaccinated part, and we have the really relatively protected vaccinated part. So if you are vaccinated, you are really in a very different category than someone who's not vaccinated.
Yeah, and as the doctor said yesterday, we were talking about public health. We're especially talking about public health for senior citizens, also public health for some of those who have healthcare challenges. But we're also talking about the economy, something that we've been talking about here for months now with the vaccine. Do what is the safest, most conservative thing to do in handling COVID. So small businesses can open, restaurants can open, the economy can open. Now it's really opening. But there's still some blind spots in the economy. We still have a way to go. There's still a lot of small business owners, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of family restaurants, a lot of family businesses who are still suffering right now. But let's not make matters worse for them. And we got to get a little research on, of course, the Morning Joe's supercomputer, the Quasartron that we keep at TJ's basement, where he keeps that, Cheetos and buckshot, and assorted things. What we found was that about 85 and 86% of teachers in America have been vaccinated. And that's something actually that the White House is pushing right now, that they understood that getting schools open, keeping schools open this fall is very important. So that has been a focus. They've been quietly focusing on that. Probably 85, 86, maybe a little bit higher now, but we will stay after that, continue getting some reports on that, and get that to you as that number moves toward, needs to move toward 100%, because all of our public schools need to be open this fall.
Well, there are other pockets of the American population that are still using the vaccine, and it is potentially going to turn us in the completely wrong direction, according to Dr. Anthony Fauci. And Florida specifically has become the new COVID-19 epicenter in the U.S. No state in the nation is coming close to experiencing the Sunshine State's explosive surge of cases. Hospitalizations in some areas are increasing at the fastest rate since the start of the pandemic. According to the CDC, Florida accounts for 1 in 5 new infections in the country.
Think about that for a second.
one state accounts for 20% of all the COVID cases. And I've been hearing from friends across Florida about emergency rooms, about hospitals that are jammed, that it looks like in March or April of last year, that the situation has gotten so bad in the state of Florida.
Well, in the country, over 73,000 new cases were reported over the past week alone. The New York Times reports the situation is worrying across northeastern Florida. For example, the Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville is on track to match or exceed its earlier record, while Wolfson Children's Hospital has its second highest number of admissions, 45 of them, after reaching 57 in January. About 90 miles south in Daytona Beach, and Advent Health Hospital has more COVID-19 patients than ever before. Across the Advent Health System in Central Florida, the COVID-19 patient load grew by 67% over the past week to 720 from 430. At UF Health, Jacksonville, one doctor said 90% of COVID-19 patients were unvaccinated and 5% were not fully vaccinated. The remaining 5% were vaccinated but also had significant comorbidities or were on immunosuppressive drugs.
And let's not get one second as far as the vaccines go. Since nobody ever said that the vaccines were perfect. In fact, Pfizer, its efficacy rate was 95%. I think Moderna's efficacy rate 89, 88%. At least that's what they were saying when it started. J&J, I think around 75%. Those numbers have played out. And as we've said, as everybody said, get the vaccine doesn't mean you won't get COVID again. It means that it's most likely that your condition is going to be more or less serious, maybe asymptomatic. But here's the rub. You can pass it on to other people that haven't been vaccinated, and they're the ones that can end up in the hospital and have serious complications. And we're seeing now that in many places, 99% of the people who are dying have not had the vaccination.
What's been particularly discouraging is that people have used these breakthrough cases that spread the Delta variant as some sort of evidence that the vaccines themselves are not effective. In fact, it's the exact opposite. They made the case for the vaccine. Those who are vaccinated are not getting terrible effects from the COVID virus that they contracted. We're seeing 99.5% of those who are unvaccinated are the ones in the hospital and are dying. So the rise of the Delta variant, in fact, makes the case for the vaccination to your point, Joe. The fact is we can get vectors for the disease even if we have the vaccine. And that's why if we don't get more people vaccinated, we do run the risk as a society of having to enact these onerous measures, whether they be lockdowns, closing restaurants, masks, so on and so forth. And of course, a lot of this is going to be state by state. So what you're seeing here is a real kind of a brutal condition, which is some of the states with the lowest vaccination rates also have the states that are least likely to institute public safety measures. So we'll have places like Florida, which are never going to institute mask mandates or culturally be interested in going back to that kind of place. And if they were, they're not going to probably prevent influenza. So we're seeing a copy region there, which is the one that America is vaccinating people. And more likely to have public safety measures will be there's unvaccinated where public safety measures will have areas of
And that's why there's going to be resistance. That's why we need to do for teachers and for health officials and others what we do with our children. We have the vaccine requirement before they get into school. And again, over 300 million Americans have done that. Nobody compared little Johnny getting a polio vaccine to being marched off to the gas chambers in Nazi Germany back when that's been happening. Again, over 50 or 60 years. This is not like this is new. They've been doing this. We've been doing this as a society because we're serious. We're a serious society. Like some of us still believe in American exceptionalism. We've been doing this because it's what serious societies do, because it's what serious civilizations do. They protect their populations. And then again, are there side effects? Yeah, there's side effects. You never see a drug commercial where they won't go, Oswego, it will make your life better, make your vaccine better, and reduce no pattern baldness. Oswego make your arms fall off and make your hair, and where it's, and they go on for like 45 minutes. There's side effects, even the safest of drugs. There are going to be some side effects to this. But it's the exception, not the rule. When you look at the percentages, when you play out the numbers, it's not even a close call. Vaccination are the safest way to go, despite all of the lies and the misinformation that's being spread on Facebook and social media.
All right, so at the hospital we just mentioned, you have held Jacksonville on Wednesday, 18 COVID-19 patients have died this month. That's compared to 4 deaths in June. All of them were vaccinated. And I just want to update the teacher situation. And the White House chair is saying that one of the things they're going to learn from as they work on dealing with the Delta variant across the country, they prioritize teachers early on, and they're focused on getting teachers 100% vaccinated, 100% of school teachers before schools open in the fall. There are mitigation steps that the CDC has recommended that Secretary of Education and their team have been putting in place. They fought for funding in the American Rescue Plan to make sure schools have the resources they needed. But the focus, they're 86% vaccinated right now, and they want 100%. They think they can make it by the time schools open. That's going to be tight. Let's bring in former Obama White House advisor for health policy and vice provost for global initiatives at the University of Pennsylvania, Dr. Ezekiel Emanuel. Zeke, it's good to have you back. And it's bad to have you back because you come on when things get really serious. And I guess I'd like to start by asking you where we stand with the Delta variant, and if things don't dramatically change and people don't start working hard to get the vaccines all across America, including the vaccine hesitant, what's going to happen with this virus?
Well, the Delta variant is about 100 times more transmissible, which means earlier in the infection, people transmit it, and they transmit a large amount of virus, and that means it spreads very, very easily, and it does spread, including to people who have been vaccinated, and that's been one of the drivers of the explosion in Florida. The other thing that it's done, and I think I would emphasize, is you're seeing a lot of younger people in the hospital, of course, all over the country, including in Florida. Not the elderly, because we've largely got them vaccinated, but it's younger and younger people who are now entering the hospital, and that is very distressing to healthcare workers. And their course is much more precipitous, so they go along and they really get sick very, very quickly. So we report on hospitalizations, we report on the deaths, but it's changed since last March because of more younger people and much more rapid declines. They don't linger for days and days and days in the ICU.
So New York Mayor Bill de Blasio is urging the city's private businesses to require their workers to get vaccinated against COVID-19 and signaled that he would introduce similar measures for hundreds of thousands of municipal employees. This is according to the New York Times. The mayor's comments came just days after he announced that all employees in the public hospital system would have to either receive a vaccine, virus vaccine, or submit to weekly testing. So you say you're a strong proponent of the vaccine mandate for medical personnel that Mayor de Blasio has implemented, and you'd like to see the private sector do the same. Explain your position on this.
Well, way back in April 14th, the day we had the highest vaccination rates in the country, I supported and came out with an op-ed that healthcare workers have to be mandated to get the vaccine. We pledged to put patients first. That's our primary obligation as healthcare workers. And we have to put patients first by getting a vaccine, not risking infecting them. And I think it's actually, the mandate is just part of having us enforce that obligation and making it from ethical to a requirement. And vaccines are effective. Hospitals that have vaccinated their workers, they don't see a big problem. You've got Houston Methodist, my own health system, the University of Pennsylvania health system also has a mandate. And you get over 99% of all the workers vaccinated. There are a few who, for medical reasons, can't get vaccinated, and we understand that. Similarly, long-term care facilities, where the companies have required their workers to get vaccinated, they have over 95% vaccinated and some 100% vaccinated, without a lot of people going through the doors and quitting. So we can do this, and then I agree with Mayor de Blasio. We need to move on. First responders, the military. I think actually if we made vaccination a requirement before you boarded an airplane, you would see lots of Americans get vaccinated. This has to be a whole of America effort to really beat this coronavirus. We want to put it in the rearview mirror. Vaccination is the best, fastest, primary way we're going to put it in the rearview mirror.
See, tell us specifically about the Delta variant and its impact on young people. We're hearing, anecdotal reports from hospitals that the patients that they are getting are younger and sicker.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Again, it seems to reproduce much earlier and much larger, and therefore you become infectious really just a few days after getting the transmission, and you spew out in your voice, air, lots more virus, and that causes a lot faster transmission. And I think, again, younger people somehow think they're invincible because early on, this was primarily a virus that really devastated elderly people, and the young somehow thought that they were immune to it. It would be a mild case. It may be a mild case, but as we're seeing it in Florida and many other places, lots of young people get serious infections and unfortunately can die from it. And we have to take them as a message. We can't give out anyone. The other thing that's important to say, Pete, I think, is when you get vaccinated, you're protecting children who can't get vaccinated. Immunocompromised people who might be sick and can't get vaccinated. Elderly people where their immune response doesn't protect them as well. You're helping other people who you love and are near you. And that's really important thing. We are all have an altruistic streak, and we have to appeal to that too.
Yeah, and we're reading that story after another about children dying, others dying with the vaccine. And the guidelines people around them are not getting the vaccine. Finally, think about the numbers we've been showing all morning, talking about 40% of healthcare workers who are seniors and nursing homes are not getting vaccinated. I think it's insanity that we all look back and see what Cuomo has done, what Cuomo did when he sent patients that had COVID back into nursing homes, and the devastating impact that had. Well, here we are, what, a year later? And we're sitting back, while we're finding that 40% of the staff in the nursing home have not gotten vaccinated. They're taking COVID into those nursing homes and putting the lives of every senior citizen at risk. What do we do? How do we get a requirement? If you're going to work around senior citizens who are the most susceptible to getting COVID and dying, we've got to be vaccinated or leave the building.
Well, I think there are 2 points, and Joe, let me just emphasize, about 150 people associated with nursing homes and long-term care facilities die each week. It's still a big problem despite the fact that 80% of residents are vaccinated. And I think I totally agree with you. We have to mandate all healthcare workers, whether hospitals, physician offices, ambulatory surgical centers, pharmacies, and long-term care facilities, nursing homes, skilled nursing facilities, all being vaccinated. I think it has to be an nationwide mandate. I agree with what they're doing in France, and I've been calling for it for over 3 months. And then I think we need to expand it. I think there's always rights. We cannot have this profusion of COVID in healthcare facilities. No resident of a long-term care facility or patient in a hospital should have to wonder, is that person coming near me in my room, are they vaccinated or not? Everyone should be vaccinated. And I do think that we have to expand it in other parts of our society. I just want to underline again. There's some people out there.
Police are doing it,
This is bad.
and, it's the bad. And with the police, it's bad.
If you have a child, and they were
Most
supposed
of those
to
guys, I'm telling you, it's
are
bad.
you was in public schools or in private schools, and you had 5 vaccine passports, or whatever you want to call them. Parents had to shut
Like, my house, $100,000, paid for it for 20 to 30 years. Pay about 3
for a lot of friends.
But you could not your boss, run black hair,
Think about that.
and private school for your kid.
People think like, well, shouldn't take it away. If I change it, you know.
One of them started about the shopping.
If I had that, they put that supposed to go to that hamburger shop. So you're saying that would take your constitutional rights away, but actually not giving you an education, you didn't get 5 or 6 vaccines, you need 5? They'll teach you know how you make sense, because it's stupid as hell. And the party that is almost no why, which is what the President of the United States and members of Congress need to get serious. They need to get serious, and they need to get all of America vaccinated. If we do it for our school children, we've been doing it for our school children for 50, 60 years, and it's been keeping them safe. We need to do it for our seniors. We need to do it for school children who are going back to school. Yes, you're going back to school. You don't want to hear any teachers union leader talk about us not being ready to go back to school this fall. Not even suggesting it. Because people are starting to say, well, I'm not sure, no, we're going back to school. We're going back to school this fall. All right, we're getting our kids back into school. And if we require vaccines for our children to protect them and protect society, don't we owe the same to our senior citizens? Don't we owe the same to the rest of America? Of course, the answer is yes, we do.
But also, Americans now, especially the vaccine hesitant, you don't have to be a Zika manual to understand the science. You have seen this play out before your eyes. Over the past year, you've seen just hundreds of thousands, millions of Americans get vaccinated, and they're staying alive. And now you're seeing the unvaccinated dying. It's simple science. Which side of it do you want to be on? Zika manual, thank you. Is the offer of the book? Which country has the world's best healthcare? And we appreciate you being on this point. And turning to the economy now, and a stock market that seems to be brushing off the concerns of the Delta variant. The Dow jumped more than 200 points on Friday, finishing above 35,000 for the first time ever, and bringing its gain for 2021 to more than 14%. Joining us now, former Treasury official and Morning Joe economic analyst Steve Ratner.
Steve, thank you so much for being with us. I think we may get into the place where we were about a year ago. I think it's about a year ago, where the market would go up well and one day come down.
go up, come down. We had that last week on Thursday and Friday, where the market on Friday at least seemed to shrug off the concerns about the rising Delta variant. But what are you expecting this coming week, and what's really been the driving force of the markets?
Joe, as you say, the market has been a bit more volatile recently, and that does reflect the market trying to process what is going on out there with the virus. Markets are not public health experts, but they do the best they can. And at the moment, as you said, they are brushing it off. But let me try to put that in a bit of longer term context by going back about a year and a half and talking about what the markets are doing since then, which is essentially going straight up. And what I'm showing here are actually three different market indices, because people tend to talk about the Dow, but it's only one of three, and really frankly not the most useful or accurate of the three. But the Dow itself, as you can see, going back to the beginning of 2020, it's up by 21%. That gray area is the recession. We had the shortest recession on record. The Dow and the other indices were down, and since then have been on a straight up climb. But compared to the 21% of the Dow, which typically represents old economy companies like Chevron and Boeing, companies like, not just, but companies like that, the NASDAQ, which is the blue line at the top, which is mostly the tech companies and the growth companies, is up 63%. And the S&P is up 35%, also outperforming the Dow, the yellow line at the bottom. So why is that happening? Well, we know a lot in Washington, actually. A lot of what's been done in Washington is that the stock market pretty substantially. First and foremost, as you can see on the next chart, the amount of stimulus that we put into this economy has caused this recession, as I said a minute ago, to be unbelievably short. You can see the turquoise line, which is the profits of all the S&P companies put together, is called during the pandemic, during the initial stages of the pandemic and the recession. But then they jump right back up, and you can see that in the first quarter of this year, the turquoise line, corporate profits actually hit an all-time record, and they're projected to continue to go up. We are getting second quarter numbers right now, and they're generally better than expected. So that's how you see like can I ask you why are corporate profits reaching a record level right now? That's a good question. You know, corporate profits are reaching a record level simply because of all the money, in part because of all the money that we have poured in this economy has caused consumers to go out and spend. And so we're going to get a GDP number on Thursday, which is going to be very strong. The consumer spending numbers are very strong. And what it's also meant, frankly, is that corporations have some pricing power. They've been able to raise prices. That's why we're also starting to talk about inflation. And so when you put that all together, it gets very strong corporate profits.
Now, so let me ask you another question. It's a little off track here, but I've been traveling around the Northeast this summer. I've been traveling around the area. I've been traveling around the Deep South. And it's the same story everywhere I go. There are people who are looking desperately for employees. I've seen McDonald's. You see McDonald's saying, you know, that they didn't have signs all over the place when I went in, of course, buy my daily value meal, because it is a value meal weekend. So I'm saving money. I'm saving money that I invest in food, rather than stock market. But there's signs all over the place. They're talking about bonuses. Burger King, of course, talking about it. I went past a Little Lobster restaurant last night talking about a big sign bonus. I've seen small mom and pop operations saying that they can only work 4 or 5 hours a day because they have their family members working for them and nobody else. Gas station in a rural part of India that actually had on their sign $20 an hour, desperately need workers. What's going on with that? I know a lot of people are saying that's happened because of the $300 extra in unemployment benefits, and when that washes out of the system, people will start coming back to work. Of course, you're seeing again, and this is all over the place. The New York Times and Boston Globe writing stories about how summer camps have been canceled halfway through because they've had camp counselors just get up and leave because they didn't want to work. What's going on? Is that affecting the macro economy right now? And how much longer until that sort of washes out and we get back to a situation where actually small family restaurants will be able to employ workers again?
Sure, well, your basic take on the situation is absolutely
correct. We have a record number of job openings in this country. Over 9 million jobs are available in this country, and yet we still have a relatively high unemployment rate, and we still have, as you say, many people not wanting to go back to work. So why are they not wanting to go back to work? There was a morning consult poll a couple of weeks ago that I think basically was pretty accurate, which is that there are a variety of reasons. There are, in no particular order, the fact that there are extra checks for unemployment out there, $300 a week that expire in September for more than half the states, all the states except for 2. The Republican governors have already stopped it, or so working through the system. So you do have the effects of unemployment insurance. You have the effects that households are actually in pretty good financial shape because of all the money that we poured in the economy, because they couldn't last year as much as they usually do. There's an estimated $2 trillion in household bank accounts waiting to be spent, and so they don't feel an immediate urge to go back. And then you get into some of the softer issues. There are issues about child care. There are issues about healthcare fears, just like we've been talking about this morning. And you also have this kind of even softer feeling around that a lot of people are saying, I don't want to go back to those jobs. I don't want to go back to working in the kitchen of Burger King. And I'm going to just step back and wait as long as I can and figure out if there's something better for me out there than being in the kitchen of Burger King. And so presumably sometime this fall, a number of those factors will disappear. Schools will reopen, and extra unemployment will disappear. People will start to feel like they can do a living. But I can't tell you exactly when. And so far, I would say it did not have a massive impact on the economy, but we'll see how it evolves going forward.
All right, Steve Radner, thank you very much. Greatly appreciate it. 30 days, I can easily down to
It's, okay, to Capitol Hill now,
maybe a couple hours.
first one, January 6th insurrection will take place tomorrow. Speaker Nancy Pelosi is bringing another Republican voice to the table. NBC News White House correspondent Monica Alba has details.
The Congressional Committee investigating the January 6th attack on the Capitol has another Republican member. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi added Illinois Congressman Adam Kinzinger today, writing, he brings great patriotism to the committee's mission to find the facts and protect our democracy.
Find the truth. That truth will have the confidence of the American people because it will be done patriotically and not in a partisan way.
The congressman, a frequent critic of Donald Trump, explaining, I'm a Republican dedicated to conservative values, but I swore an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution. When duty calls, I will always answer. He joins Congresswoman Liz Cheney on the 9-member panel, the only other GOP voice since Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy pulled other Republicans from the group after the speaker rejected 2 and supported of Donald Trump's false claims about the election he lost, which the former president repeated in Arizona Saturday.
When they steal it from you and rig it, that's not easy, and we have to find.
The first committee hearing is set for Tuesday, where Capitol police officers will testify about their personal experiences, some of which even motivated their newly named chief to come out of retirement.
I was asked me on January 5th, you want to get a receipt again? I would have said, no, I'm fine, I'm Jones. But you mentioned January 6th, I'll change that.
Let's bring in Chief White House correspondent for the New York Times, Peter Baker, and Washington Post congressional reporter Mariana Sotomayor. Good to have you both with us this morning. Peter, what is the latest on putting together this commission and the way they will approach this, given that Republicans are, who want to deny what happened on January 6th, or even, threatening their own investigation, how could this play out, and how can Democrats keep the truth at the forefront?
Well, what it looks like right now, you're going to see these 2 separate inquiries, in fact, and they're going to be both seen forms. There's going to be the Democratic-led one that Nancy Pelosi put together with Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney, and there's going to be something that looks looks like that Kevin McCarthy might try to do on his own. He'll be, obviously looking at it from the pro-Trump point of view, and then voters, of course, are going to end up with, rather than a consensus view of what happened on consensus before, cuts through the partisanship, they're going to have about, once again, pick your own version of the news that they often get. And it's so different than what we saw after 9/11. What we saw after 9/11 was the commitment to the idea that it was important to figure out what happened so it didn't happen again. Obviously, there was partisan politics involved, and to put a five-trial commission led by one Republican and one Democrat to actually see what happened, regardless of whose political oxygen might have been before, you ended up with a consensus view that stands the test of time. To this day, we hear people on both sides of the aisle refer to the gold standard of examinations of this kind. And even though both the Bush and Clinton administrations had something to fear about, in the end, all three, yes, the facts there, what happens again, it's not going to happen. And of course, we'll see Republicans who are pro-Trump, reject whatever it is, we'll see even though there are Republicans and Republicans who are pro-Trump will end up finding their own version of reality, which might not be very relationship to what we saw on television or in the images that were captured by protesters and the police officers.
It seems to me, and someone said this is wishful thinking, it's not wishful thinking, it seems to me that the Republicans are talking about January 6th, and so they're teetering along a high political pipeline. And trying to make excuses for Trump, trying to make excuses for these insurrections, is trying to downplay these moral families. It's we don't have two of the common issues right now are issues where minority and other Republicans, most Republicans, just are back pictures, are really uncomfortable